shaken yet standing firm. This is Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Can you imagine having to have me twice in one day? Woohoo! I know some people are happy. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255 as Miss Susan adds the bass and turns up the volume. Next thing you know, it's a party on a Monday, not even parts week. Well, good chance to start with our friends from the CPR as we invite you to be a part of a discussion. The phone lines will be open. And if you turn on your YouTube channel, you see Miss Shirley Rollstone, and shortly you'll see two of her other colleagues joining her. It's going to be good fun. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255. Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And we want you to be informed and involved. Feel as much as you're invited and included to be a part of all the good that happens in this country. And if it's not for us together, we're not going to make it any better if we don't work hand in glove. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Hey, even without my glasses, I can still read the WhatsApp. If not, Miss Susan can translate it for me. 925-3261. Well, I'm excited to be able to welcome to the studio the wonderful company of Miss Shirley Rollstone in particular. I know her other colleagues would say, well, what about us? Well, we're glad to see them too, but we're going to see Miss Shirley. How are you, Mom?
I'm wonderful, Dwayne. Thanks for having us again, and we look forward to another exciting show and spreading facts.
All right, well, as we introduce and welcome equally Mr. Mario Rankin.
Good afternoon to Radio Cayman loyal listeners.
Yes.
Yeah, the only listeners that matter.
That's what we say too, boy. That's what we say. You know, it's good to see the wide and varied, cross section of our community that's engaged. And Mario, as I was watching you coming in, I was thinking back to the days of Cayman Reds and Miss Shirley. She always puts you at ease. There's this warm, not just welcoming, intelligent, but honest. It's very sincere, hospitable nature about Miss Shirley. So.
Oh, thank you for that. But I turned into a rascal.
Well, you hang out with the West Bears, is that what it was?
Maybe.
Okay, well, we'll forgive you.
Good rascals.
Up to some rascaling.
Mm-hmm.
Mario, no.
Well, no, you see, we bring a whole new meaning to the term rascal. It probably was once viewed as something derogatory, so we brought a good side to the rascals to the table now.
Why used to like watching the Little Rascals?
Me too.
Hey, they were fun. I remember the one with the hair stick up.
Alfalfa.
But
all of them.
Tarzan never combed his hair.
We call Katrina Darla.
Darla.
That's my nickname for her now.
Okay, I can't promise you I'll behave, but I'll try at least be respectful.
We can behave?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
But you guys can behave. I tell you, I probably won't.
We'll lead by example. You just follow us.
Okay, there we go. But the beautiful part about this country, and it's easy sometimes to quantify things. So when we look at statistics, say the WHO would put out statistics in relative health, parts per billion or parts per whatever,
right.
Per capita, per 100,000. So it's easy to round the numbers down to 100,000. But we're a small population. Mm-hmm. And to be able to reach out and almost literally engage with each one. We're going to have a census next year. And the enumerators under the auspices of the ESO is going to come to every household. You know, talk to everybody to get that perspective. It's still a manageable space. So having each person share a perspective and to be able to be informed and to know your politicians. And sometimes, you know, you grab them, you shake them, you slap them upside the head. Sometimes you grab them, you hold them, and you encourage them. But sometimes you need to do a little bit of one and then a little bit of the other. I mean, so I don't know what season we're in yet, but we'll soon find out.
Yep. Well, the more minds that get together, the more things can be accomplished, because just within our own group, sometimes we come up with an idea and we think it's great till we all sit down and discuss it, and then we go, maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe we should not do that. And so that's how we operate, and that's how it should be, where people put their heads together and work for the common good.
So this idea of taking the Rosum and going across to one of the politicians' house at night, that's out of the question. Old people in Rosum, what's that? Look at Susan. Nobody suggested that. No, I say that because I was speaking to an elderly gentleman earlier, and he said, you know what's wrong with you young people? And I was probably the youngest one there. Yeah,
so I'm not in that category.
Right? And as you're looking at some of us, and some of whom were aspiring politicians and some of whom were former, he said, you're not willing to listen to difference of opinion. And just the way he spoke, very, very stern, but with a smile, and with a willingness to almost want to pull you and say, okay, you know what, sometimes you just got to make people listen. And as he was sharing, he said, look at the weather today. And he went on, and that level of love, at least from my perspective, even though he was chastising us as a country, and the recognition that sometimes we don't want to hear each other. No. We don't want to hear what the next one has to say, because chances are it's probably something truthful and just going to cut us the wrong way. And he said, you don't want to listen. But what do you say? If you can't hear, you can feel. and this is an elderly gentleman that I believe not a single person there that this one would have, any which way, felt anything other than a healthy respect and love.
Right.
Now, if he's telling us that, and the age he's at, what are we going to tell our grandchildren that are not born yet? Just a thought. But anyway, you guys share with us, and I will do my best not to put you in too much of a thing. But I had a question asked earlier of me. I think I knew the answer. Mario, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if I could ask of it, just generally speaking, talking about the port, we're going to build a dock, a quarter-mile long dock out there.
1,600 feet. Yep.
Two. Okay, forgive me. Okay, so a dock, right? We can put it out there. Today is put a chopper in the harbour. With a dock out there, we can't. With it being chopper, we can't tender, presumably. With a dock out there, would we be able to bring the cruise ships alongside the dock if the dock was out there with chopper weather and nor'westers and the like? To your knowledge, I mean, I don't.
Absolute 100% no.
So you can't, okay.
You can't, and I think that's where the misconception has come in. During a nor'wester, you can't have no ships out there. Okay. Because I'll tell you why. How many cargo ships you see offloading during a nor'wester? And it's tied to a pier. Okay. And that's a fixed pier. That's a cement pillar out there, and the cargo ships. Because let's not talk about the discharging of the ship. Let's just say tying up there. They can't tie up there because the weather doesn't permit. So a 280,000 ton ship, 10 stories high, during a nor'wester, isn't going to tie up to a piled pier. These fingers are going to be on piles, Sterling. Understand what that means? Okay. So if that ship catches a crosswind and high seas tied up to a pier,
a sidewalk by
with piles in the ground.
Yeah, I call it a dock. That's the easy word to say.
And it's 280,000 tons, 10 stories high. They'll rip those piles right out of the ground, and it would be all for nothing.
But as Captain Paul also said, they can build a dock, but can they use it? So we may not be any further ahead having piers, because today 2 ships are in spots. It's not extremely rough, but it's rough enough that tenders couldn't operate, and I don't think any captain in their right mind would try to dock a 14-story building up next to a sidewalk in those seas and the winds that we have. But I'm not. Yeah. I'm going to listen to the older people who know way more than I do. They're the experts in Cayman.
It's really nonsensical for us to think that we're gonna build a pier and it's gonna fix all of our Mother Nature issues. The weather patterns has changed drastically over the last 25 to 30 years, and they're constantly changing. You know, we have global warming, we have different weather patterns, we see more and more storms every year. All of these things has to be taken into consideration when you're doing a projected project that'll have long-term, impacts, such as a cruise berthing facility, because you're not putting it there on a Monday, moving it on a Tuesday, and then put it back when you need it. It's a fixed project. It's there forever, during bad weather, during good weather. I'm not saying that a cruise berthing facility doesn't make it easier for people to get on and off the ship. No one has ever said that. But the reality is that when you eliminate the one thing that makes us unique, then we're no longer unique. Then we just become one of the regular places in the Caribbean. So I find it real hard that the Minister of Tourism could say that we have to stay competitive and we need to build this pier, not realizing that we have the one competitive edge by not being like the rest of the Caribbean jurisdiction. So, there's so many fundamental things that is wrong with this particular project for our island, simply because we don't have a struggling economy and we're not a third world country. We don't have to make these unnecessary sacrifices because we need money to feed our people. The reality is that we have poor distribution when it comes to wealth in this country. That's the problem. There's never been any level distribution of wealth. It hasn't been any consideration for other people and any opportunities for other people to generate their own personal wealth. Not everybody wants to be a billionaire people just want to be comfortable. People want to be able to live in an environment where what they work for is sustainable for them to survive. That's all it really is.
Yeah, that they don't have to struggle for everything: school fees, lunch money, gas money, groceries.
Success should never be measured by how much money you make. And that's where we've gone wrong.
When we come back from the break, I invite you to share with us some more, because there are a lot of questions. There are a lot of those who say, well, you know what, I just going to be trusting and, let the chips fall right away and whatever. So give us a perspective so that we can have, as much as possible, a meaningful conversation.
Yeah, we've been trusting for the last 35 years, and nothing has changed. It's gotten worse. We're not trusting anymore. We got to take the initiative.
Trust but verify. All right. Let's pause and take a break. When we come back, more talk today.
Community spirit, cherished family, and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Starting November 1st to December 31st, you can earn double points every time you use your Fidelity credit or prepaid cards. That's not all. When you use your card on Black Friday or Cyber Monday, Fidelity's giving you triple points. That means you have a whole weekend to rack up 3 times the points for travel, merchandise, and more. And with added protection of instant text alerts, 90-day purchase protection, and chip and PIN technology, you can shop with confidence. Fidelity. We're good for you.
Back by popular demand for November only. It's your sale, your choice at Vamp Motors. Vamp is making it easier than ever for you to drive home a real deal, where you can choose how much you'll save on your new vehicle and whether you want to get cash back or add-on upgrades to it. Save big on the new Ford Explorer, F-150, Edge, EcoSport, and Focus with up to $5,000 off select vehicles during our November sale. Get huge savings on the Toyota RAV4, Rush, and Ford Tuner as well. Best of all, you decide if you'll take the full discount, get cash back, or upgrade your new ride. It's your sale, your choice, but only during November. So come by Vamp Motors on Walker's Road, where your new SUV or truck is waiting for you to drive home.
Come along with me so that you will see the best company for your road safety. You'll get the theory, you'll get the road from the best driving school that you can afford. Hi, I'm Berman Scott from the Real Thing Driving School. You can find us on Facebook. Call me on 925-5094 or call 922-6223. You'll get the real thing. Yes, it's the real thing. You'll get the real thing. The Real Thing Driving School. Consultation, orientation. Come get your lesson. The Real Thing Driving School.
Headlines.
With the latest headlines.
Headlines.
One of Cayman's bright and shining young stars, local, regional, international.
Headlines.
Turning to international news, updates on the hour between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. All the news when you want it. Tune in to Radio Cayman for hourly headlines of the day's top stories.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. As we invite you to be a part of a discussion and remind you, as my friend says, the chant is remember the 19th of December. That's the date set for, well, as it is now, the referendum.
Referendum day.
All
History-making day.
Ms. Shirley Ralston, together with Mr. Mario Rankin, are our guests. Thanks very much for sharing. It must be challenging, though, because here there's a group of people from the perspective of those observing, champion democracy, inviting the populace to at least seek information, ask questions. But then there are some of us that are pointing fingers at some of you and saying, troublemaker you. I don't know. How will history
We're supposedly millionaires.
I hope I hurry up and get the million side of the air.
Yeah.
All right, well.
Because right now everything is up in the air.
I wouldn't be in this if I was a millionaire, trust me.
I need the millions to go with air.
Yeah,
now.
I would.
I'll try more that one. No, but this issue, as political as it has become, as emotive as it is, what is the big picture? What is the most pressing thing? Because there are those who say, well, there's the economics. This thing is going to cost a lot. It could be things you can't undo. There are those who are saying, well, there could be an environmental impact. There are those who say, well, there's a social consequence. Then there are those who, well, if you do it this way, that's going to benefit them. If you do it this way, that's going to hurt them. We're all over the place. But
we don't need peers, is the bottom line. We don't need peers.
There is absolutely...
Our tourism is not threatened.
Nothing wrong with our cruise tourism product. Other than, can we create a better experience when they come off the ship on the tender? Absolutely. Can we create a better experience when they got to get back on the ship, when they are on the pier? Absolutely. No one said any of those things weren't something that we should be doing. But when you're looking at a country that is bringing in on average 1.5 to 1.8 million people a year, right? We are struggling now to accommodate and to manage those people from an infrastructure standpoint. We're not building any extra beaches. We're not adding any extra portions of Stingray City. These are the key locations that these people are funneled to, not realizing that our stayover tourism also have to enjoy those areas and take part in those areas. So if we don't be really careful about what we're doing here, and I know it could sound like a broken record, but it's actually the reality of it all, and we need to say it as much as we have to for it to sink in, so that people understand that we have to be extremely careful with this fragile environment that we have and our industry that we have. Tourism is the only industry that we own, Sterling. We don't own any other industry. We don't have any exports. We don't do any. Tourism is the only resource that we have, that we own, that we can call our own. So under no circumstances should we be playing Russian roulette with that resource at any point. The ESO website has all of the necessary numbers for us to understand how important stayover is compared to cruise. We understand that we have to have both sectors, and we need to create that balance to ensure that we don't go quantity over quality. We don't affect the goose that's laying the golden egg and continuing to do so.
Yeah, it's already happening where the stayovers I'm in the tourism industry and I do tours. and people do their research. So before they even book a tour with me, if they're stayovers, they say, we don't want to go on a day that a cruise ship is in.
Yep.
Doesn't matter where they want to go on the tour. They don't want to go when a cruise ship is in, because every activity will be crowded or whatever. So we have to find the balance here. We have to be able to have our cruise tourism, our cruise passengers have a wonderful experience here and want to come back, but we have to take care of the ones that put more money in everybody's pocket. We do not want to chase them away.
You know, I hear Mr. Michael Bailey always saying, and he's said it on several occasions, and it was ironic that he used the term common sense in the same utterance of a win-win. Well, if they're listening, you know what a win-win situation is for the Cayman Islands? You can make all of this go away by just simply tendering your boat and pumping some money into the tendering service and the landing service and help enhance the experience, be a better experience for your passengers, for your customers. So why don't you just agree to tender your boat, because it can be tendered, you know? And that one simple, you realize that we having all of this talk simply because Royal Caribbean and Carnival refuses to tender their boat in the Western itinerary locations.
Now, with that, as I listen to you, sorry, Shirley, the reports in the media and then what was shared from the public meetings thus far on the port discussions and the like, Mr. Bailey, as you referenced, said, well, we're choosing to bypass. It's not.
That's incorrect.
Okay, so yeah.
That's incorrect. Let me tell you what they're doing. And that's where a great misconception has come in with all of the pro-port supporters, saying that, oh, we got these ships passing every day. Sterling, these boats disembark from Florida. Now, how in the world would they get to the Eastern Caribbean without passing Cayman and Cuba? Tell me. Because if there's some time portal for them to go through, then I want to know where that is. There are 17 other smaller ships that also pass our port every day to go to the Eastern Caribbean. Why are they not talking about those? There are 4,000 flights that fly over our head every day that goes into America, Cuba, and all other surrounding islands. Why are they not talking about creating an environment, an airport, and facilities and accommodations to get some of that traffic? Listen, they have picked and chosen what they wanted to say in order to change the optics, to try to brainwash people with propaganda that just isn't true. You know, I've done an immense amount of reading, and I can tell anybody this. Prior to this exercise, I had no need to know any of this information. Only because of this exercise, I've started to take the time to read, to make myself better informed, so that when we have these discussions, we're not talking from a place of ignorance or not knowing what's going on. Those ships cross our island every single week because that's a choice Royal and Carnival make. Also, the Eastern itinerary has OASSI ships going there. So they're going to cross us anyway. So even if we had a pair, and even if it was a day that an OASSI ship had to cross Cayman to get to their Eastern itinerary destination, they would still be passing. But would they be talking about that? They wouldn't be talking about that, Sterling. The reality is that Royal and Carnival has taken a position simply because they are used to strong-arming jurisdictions to getting what they want. Do you know that they used to in the Labadee Islands in Haiti, they used to tender their boats there before they built the pier? They used to do them in Coco Cay too. They used to do them, and now they just bought an island in Grand Turks. You think they're gonna not take their ships there until the pier is built?
Yeah, all right, let's continue that. But Miss Shirley, Roseland, Mr. Mario Rankin, our guest. We do have a caller, and we go to our phones for those who are listening. You can also call if you wish to. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sterling.
Blessings to you, ma'am. How are you today?
Georgia Ebanks here. Good afternoon to you, Miss Sterling, and good afternoon, Mr. Mario.
Good afternoon, Miss Georgia.
Good afternoon, Miss Georgia.
Hope all of you are keeping well. I just want to ask, I'm asking this question, but you all are a bunch of babies, so you would not know anything about it. Very few people can remember the 1944 storm. I was 17 years old, and let me tell you that there was a little rock out between the landing and the port, a rock that extended out, and a little store was on that. And that little store was completely washed away and all the contents. That's 75 years ago. You all wasn't a gleaming on a mama.
That is true.
Even if a good heavy northwester should come, not even a storm like the 1944, I wonder how many people really sit down to stop and think what would occur out in the waters of what we call our harbor. I don't think anyone has really stopped to realize it could be a total disaster. It could be half finished, quarter finished, just started, and something could come and, you know that word, destroy, and destroy what they were building or already had built. So I wish some people would stop to think of that. And the last thing I want to say is Mr. Hunter would say from Cayman Brack. Those who think Cayman should have a population of 100,000, let me tell you, don't say common sense has gone out of style. Something must have happened to their brains. I don't care which one of the LAs, from the premier right down to the last person. Something is wrong with any man or woman's brain that would suggest our little handkerchief that size island of Grand Cayman have a population of 100,000. We're barely struggling and coping with what we now have. May God bless all. I don't mean a few. I don't mean the rich and the popular and the beautiful and the handsome. All the people on our three islands. And may they go to that good Father God in heaven and ask Him to give them knowledge and understanding to take care of the people on these islands, including this old 92-year-old woman. God bless you all. Bye.
God bless, Mom.
God
Thanks.
bless you too.
Same to you, Mom.
Let's respectfully take a quick break. See Miss Susan smiling. Let me see if I can keep that for a bit. When we come back, invite you to share. Hold your thoughts. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
This holiday, Logic is helping you mix and match. So, whether it's reggae jingle bells or wearing plaid with Santa sweaters, anything goes. It's all about the freedom to choose, like mixing and matching your Logic services. The more you spend, the more you save. Plus, we're doubling our internet speeds, which means you're getting the island's fastest internet at up to 30% less than the competition. It's like Christmas all year round. Visit logic.ky to learn more. Terms and conditions apply.
Ambitious, determined, beautiful, and unapologetically uncompromising. You have set the bar high. Now let High Fashion and Design Studio take you to the next level. Full service hair and nail salon carrying the top designer brands. Calvin Klein, 9 West. Shoes, clothing, accessories, quality dressmaking, tailoring, and custom design. High Fashion and Design Studio, located in Cayman Trade Center, 199 Eastern Avenue, across from Banana's Restaurant. Call 945-4415 to book your high fashion and design experience today. Be bold, be true, be you.
Boy, it's that time again.
Wait, ain't you talking about Christmas come already?
No fooling. It's rundown time again.
Rundown again? Boy, last year I was popping up in that theater. Best believe I going.
Not without me.
Well, what we waiting on? There we go.
Don't miss Rundown, the hilarious annual comedy review, starting Thursday, November 14th at 8 p.m. at the Harkwell Theater. Tickets on sale now. Visit archcayman.org or call 949-5477 for more information.
Living in the Cayman Islands today, it's fascinating in every way. So once a year we have to sit down and and laugh at all of
A
it.
Cayman National Cultural Foundation production.
Sponsored by Logic, Island Heritage, Big Fish, and Hurley's Media.
Support our port, support our tourism.
The cruise berthing facility will not have any upland development, which means cruise lines will not own or operate any retail or commercial space within the cruise terminal. This is a win for Cayman.
Looking forward, looking bright. Support our port, support our tourism.
Preventing dengue is as simple as preventing mosquito bites. Use a mosquito repellent, wear protective clothing, and stay indoors during early dawn and dusk when mosquitoes are most active. Control the places around you where mosquitoes breed. Remove stagnant water in outdoor and household settings. As a weekly habit, persons should change the water in vases, clear the water in saucers under potted plants, and ensure air conditioner drip trays are free of stagnant water. Outdoor objects capable of holding water should be kept empty and preferably disposed of or put into dry storage if not used. These include open bottles and tins, watering cans, buckets, empty paint tins, and old vehicle tires. Do your part to control the spread of dengue. The dengue virus is an infectious disease transmitted through mosquito bites. Symptoms may come on as early as 4 days or as late as 3 weeks following an infection. There is no vaccine or specific medication to treat dengue. Symptoms of dengue include high fever, headache, pain behind the eyes, joint and muscle pain, and rash. If persons have any of these symptoms, they should go to the nearest health center or hospital. It is advised to drink lots of liquids and avoid medication that contains aspirin.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you for joining us, for listening and sharing your thoughts. In the studio, Ms. Shirley Rolston, Mr. Mario Rankin, our guests, and we certainly appreciate the opportunity. Miss Georgia, she called in just then. I don't know, man. The zeal, the passion, the enthusiasm, the energy, the youthfulness,
and the memory,
and
the wealth of knowledge. That's
and it's people like her that have never been consulted on anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have experts, people that could lead us down better paths and stuff, but nobody wants to listen to them. Not even take into consideration anything that they're saying, and we will pay for that. We will pay for not listening to our elders and our homegrown experts.
But it's I mean, as we talk about the cruise port referendum and the notion, questions asking, you know, is it possible for us to build our own cruise line?
Which is by, you mean cruise dock or cruise line?
No, cruise line. We had a caller who asked the question as well publicly, but this one is, could we own our own cruise line? I mean, came
out. Well, I had this conversation privately a couple months back, actually, and I said, you know, it wouldn't be such a bad idea for us to buy our own cruise line. Now, granted, when you say something like that, that is unfathomable. Unfathomable.
I struggle with it too.
I trips up with that word all the time. Yeah. That's why I try not to use it. But anyway,
I don't either, boy.
I got brave a second ago.
I could see the bravery in you, man.
But here's the thing.
It's unconscionable to think that you can't say unfathomable.
The idea of owning a cruise line, and what's crazy about that is that all of those companies have all of their records public. You can go see it. You can see how good they're doing. It is the fastest growing business in the world, cruise industry. It's growing by leaps and bounds every single quarter. Now, if cruise lines could buy islands, why islands can't buy a cruise line?
Vertical integration.
and the beauty with that is you see the minute that islands like, because for instance, right, I wouldn't expect like a third world country who's struggling, you know, economically, who don't have but when you find countries like Cayman who could possibly look down the road and say, you know something, we could make this work. This actually can. Matter of fact, we know it can work
It
because
could
we
work.
because we bring in 1.9 million people here now ourselves. No, that's collectively through a lot of different ships. However, it's not something that we can't do. It's something some people say, oh, they're talking foolishness. But you know what? That's actually a really, really good idea.
Well, I appreciate this person mentioned and asking that, and we know the caller
But that's my
asks
opinion.
publicly, right? But as I was listening, the gentleman, I don't want to call him the elder gentleman because then, he got, like Miss Georgia, a lot of fire still, I pray that they see another 100 years. But he was saying, why is it as a people we're not looking with this notion? No, he didn't use words like sovereign fund, but he talked about the country owning stuff so that the people be
But that's
shareholders,
essential.
right?
Mm-hmm.
He says Cayman National Bank was up for sale.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
So was CUC.
Yeah, why as a country? I wish I could remember exactly or repeat it exactly the way he phrased it. But we went in as a country and bailed out the insurance company that was part of the group.
Well, you realize that we still own that, right? We didn't bail that out. We bought it.
Okay.
Let's be very clear on that. And
Thanks,
people has let that run under the radar and not realize that we own that insurance company. That belongs to the government.
But is it existing in trade anymore?
I think it
and
is.
The shares that
I think it is.
And the shares
it's offshore, but it is.
Okay, fair enough. But he said, why didn't we own, part of? We just come up for sale
because we find out about everything after the fact.
Yeah.
I'm going to refer to that 1979 report that was done by the United Nations that spoke exactly about what you just said, right?
Right.
And it said that if the Cayman Islands want to ensure that their people is secured in the future, because we had such a small economic environment and the growth was manageable, the two things that they pointed out and their executive summary, it stated very clearly, that the Cayman Islands should own all of its infrastructure in terms of utilities and the grid and all of those things. So that way, we wouldn't be subject to private companies doing whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we struggle with here today. So when we look at this pier, when we look at this cruise berthing facility, we're going out to we're gonna give a private company our entity to use as collateral to attain a $250 million loan for 25 years in order to build a pier to give us what we already have, right? We make $30 million a year now on average from the port. We don't have any loans or we don't owe anybody for it, okay? We own it now. But we're going to allow a private company to come in, use that entity and that business model and all of the line items that generate money from that in order to justify a $250 million loan so that we can pay back interest over 25 years only because we have a framework for fiscal responsibility in place that has been imposed on us because of this very same administration. So we got to be very careful. And if we build a cruise pier, we should own it. It should be ours. And if Royal Caribbean wants to build a pier to enhance their business, they should pay for it.
All right. We do have a caller online. And we had a question off here about the weather, but let's go to the caller. Good afternoon. Thank you for calling.
Hello, Dwayne.
Hey, how are you, man?
Mario and Mr.
Hello. From the Brock, I assume.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I hear this thing about jobs. Now, listen to me. I worked in the construction. That's where I made my money. And I had people that came from Jamaica that went to the trade school. They went there because they couldn't read and write so well. But let me tell you something. They could lay $300-400 a block, 300 or 400 blocks a day. That's $300-400 CI or more. And you can tell me right now, the biggest boom in the construction history is going on right now. Because we just gotten 3 more thousand related to construction. Let me tell you something, Mario. You can teach a young person to lay blocks. You can teach a person to lay blocks in 4 or 5 hours.
That's right.
Now, he's not going to be able to lay as fast as them, but he can lay the block. It's just like rendering cement. It's just like tying the steel.
Right.
When it comes to the reading of the blueprint. I took a course for that. And when I came to my brother that I was working for the public works, I was not allowed to exercise that right or shooting the transit and all that.
Wow.
No, you're young. You never worked here long enough. And don't care how much we do. The job opportunities are there, but nobody's slowing down. Say, listen to me. For okay, look, all the block layers. If you got 10 block layers on a job, you're hiring 2 out of the high school or off the street. And the first thing they got to go through all this paperwork, years of experience. How much years experience do they need? You do start off with experience, you know.
That's true.
Huh?
Agreed.
Okay, all of them people, all the politicians, how much experience do they have run the country?
0.
Okay, good. They got a good will, the mind to do it. But when it come about the job business, you know something that I talk to people on the road and people, and I say, it can take, if it go through, it will take 3 years to build. Okay? Now we got 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16 years old in school. When they come out in 3 years' time, they will be able to drive a bus or a taxi. But I know here the government say, well, okay, you know something? Since we looking jobs out of this, any only that interested in running a boat, driving a taxi, the government will guarantee $10, $15 million what a soft loan. You just pay the loan back at a 1%. I don't hear that. So you know when the big cruise ship come with the expensive, exclusive passengers, you know what I think they'll say? Boy, Elvis, your little old bastard that you've been doing for 10 years, boy, that broke up, you know, you can't use that no more. You got upgrade or move out the line. You know?
Yep, you got it.
All right. Very much appreciate the comments, Mr. Elvis. With that, we'll just go to our news break. When we come back, we'll continue the discussion. Stay tuned.
Today's biggest news.
Radio K-Man.
It's only 2 species that we have here on Island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice. For today's biggest news. Access.
Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
Pastor, author, filmmaker, and one of the most influential voices in America, Bishop T.D. Jakes, paid a courtesy call to the Legislative Assembly last Wednesday morning. Bishop Jakes was on a faith and family cruise attended by close to 2,000 people. Speaker of the House, the Honorable Makiva Bush, welcomed Bishop Jakes. Premier, the Honorable Alton McLaughlin, said he was overwhelmed by the gesture. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines. In news elsewhere, the Duke of York should apologize for his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, a lawyer for the convicted sex offenders accusers has said. Spencer Cuvin, who represents several unnamed alleged victims, said royalty has failed them. He called Prince Andrew's interview with BBC's Newsnight on Saturday sad and depressing. The prince has stood by his decision to take part, despite critics describing it as a car crash. And comic book film crossed the $1 billion mark in global ticket sales this weekend, becoming the first R-rated movie to do so. A U.S. R rating requires everyone under the age of 17 watching the film in a cinema to be accompanied by an adult. Joker is currently number 7 on this weekend's U.S. box office chart, with Le Mans film Ford vs. Ferrari topping the chart with takings of $31 million. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Depending on the severity of a storm, it is possible that your home's plumbing or septic tank could be damaged. Hazard Management Cayman Islands recommends using a garbage bag to line at least 2 5-gallon containers with tight-fitting covers to use as a temporary toilet. Be sure to include personal sanitation supplies in your emergency kit, such as moist towelettes, feminine hygiene products, garbage bags, and rubber gloves. For more useful hurricane preparedness tips, visit the Water Authority's website at www.waterauthority.ky or follow us on social media.
King Sports Center takes pride in being more than just an ordinary gymnasium. For 14 years, their multi-purpose facility has been providing the community with a variety of sporting, recreational, and relaxation activities. King Sports Center has a bowling alley, lounge bar, multi-purpose rooms, powerhouse gym, rock climbing wall, bungee jumping, a 10,000 square foot rink, and so much more. For more information on the variety of services, call their friendly staff today at 946-5464 or email kings@candw.ky or visit www.kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, your one-stop shop for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
Ocean Med is open for appointments at Bayshore Mall. The only healthcare facility on island designed exclusively for women offers a wide range of radiology-based medical screening and diagnostic tests, such as mammograms and ultrasounds, with state-of-the-art technology, full OBGYN services, a complimentary healthcare coordinator, and a stunning facility equipped with calming, multi-sensory exam suites. Ocean Med is dedicated to providing competitively priced healthcare excellence to women in our community. Book your appointment today. Call 946-2326 or visit oceanmed.ky.
For the record, a fresh approach for information that matters to you, the people. Hear from the government, the opposition, independents, and other experts on issues and solutions that affect you. For the record. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, tune into 89.9 and 93.9 FM.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. K-Man Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The K-Man Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. And Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates.
Radio Cayman has always worked to showcase the best of our sister islands of Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. From coverage of the agriculture shows, special Talk Today broadcasts, and church services. 4 years ago, we launched the Brac Breeze Fusion 5K Walk Run. In our inaugural year, we raised funds for the Harmony Learning Center. In year 2, for the Lions Club of Cayman Brac Kids Pantry. And last year, the So and So Club. This year, the Brac Breeze Fusion will be raising funds for the Leo's Club of Cayman Brac. To all of our Cayman Brac families, we invite you to join us on Saturday, November 30th at 6:30 a.m. Southside Public Beach. Step by step, we can do it. Cayman Brac, yes, it is your turn. The Breeze Fusion 5K Walk Run. Register today at District Administration.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you for joining us. The phone lines are open as we invite you to be part of the discussion. Miss Shirley Rolston, Mr. Mario Rankin are our guests. Now, as we talk about the cruise port referendum, as we look at the 19th of December, I was trying to figure out how to relay a question that was asked without it being perceived by some to be one of those questions where some would say, oh, it's a leading question, others would say, oh. But it seems, and I preface it by saying that it seems that for some, the acknowledgement now that whatever information that they think would help them to make an informed decision won't be available until after the referendum, because it's not available now, makes them sort of say, well, I don't know what I'm to do, because yes, I wouldn't mind this, but how do I know what this is going to be if I don't know till after? Right. It's not like you having a blind date or you're dining in the dark. Is that, and should that be of concern from your perspective?
It's very important information that we're missing.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody that I know of would go and buy a house online, sight unseen, not knowing what they're getting, not having any idea what the color is, what the neighborhood is like, how many bedrooms, how many baths, does it come with electricity, plumbing, does it even have a roof? People wouldn't even buy a car without having a picture of it and having all the details, how many miles or whatever. And we're talking about destroying our environment and our historic shipwrecks out in the harbor for something that we do not even need.
So then, if that is the case, and again, I don't want anybody to accuse me of defending the government. If they're going to accuse me of beating them up, don't do it just yet. Right? Wait till I do it. But the government of the day says, listen, we need to be competitive. We need to move forward. We're going to be doing these things. Respectfully, Mr. Mario, just trust us. I mean, we know what's best, and this needs to happen, because if not, we're going to be left holding the bag.
Well, I find that statement to be very insulting to the Caymanian people. I'll tell you why. Because in the absence of Caymanian people who are in that industry starving and not being able to pay their bills, and that the industry is dying and it has major issues, then I'm on board. We're talking about people who wants to make more than they're already making. We're talking about people who wants to sacrifice the possibility of ruining an environment just so that they can make more money than they're currently making. Sterling, let me tell you something. People that are not working in that industry, who work 9 to 5, I know people personally that got 2 jobs and cannot afford to pay their bills. That's the most disheartening thing in the world, to see somebody who been working for 30 years. And they could come to you and see you in public and ask you for $25 to buy milk and bread and cheese. And this ain't because they're not working. This is because they can't no longer afford to pay for the everyday essentials, simply because the cost of living has outpaced every single average Caymanian in this country. And we sitting down here talking about building a $250 million port to make cruise lines richer and to make couple operators more money than they already making. I don't have anything with anybody making as much money as they want, but not at the expense of the rest of the country and our environment. People talk about CUC, and I only use this as a reference because they're one of the largest private entities that employ almost 90%, almost 100% Caymanians. But you have a monopoly on an industry. The least you could do is hire our people. Don't tap yourself on the shoulder and say, well, we hire Caymanians. Well, if it were me, if it were Mario Rankin, the law would be that you couldn't hire nobody but Caymanians.
If I may ask, there are those who shared, well, we've been told a certain figure, 250 million to build, but there's no final design seemingly? Or is there?
Final business case?
Okay.
You know what I want to know? I want to know how Caymanian men went to sea with less than a 3rd grade education and came back as engineers and captains, but a Caymanian who has a college degree can't get a job in an institution where people are making millions of dollars every year. No, tell me what's wrong with that picture. Tell me what's wrong with that picture. It's because we have let individuals, including our own government members, who runs these establishments, set up their own guideline and their own picket fence to gate out and guard out any Caymanian who has the ability to make a contribution that has a positive effect, that they can set examples for other Caymanians to be empowered by. Because their fear is that if you get too many of those locals in there, it's going to become a local affair and they're going to change how we do things and it's going to cut into our piece of the pie. And it's the same thing happening with this cruise port. We are getting ready to give away our port entity to a foreign company to build a $250 million pier to increase their bottom line. You hear them talk about we not spending $1 that Verdun Isle is taking the responsibility. Whose asset is Verdun Isle using to attain this loan? Who the $18.50 head tax going to? So what are they talking about that they don't cost us nothing?
So that money
this costs us everything.
That would normally come to the government coffers through the port
goes to the repayment.
Being diverted to this.
That's right.
Okay.
So what's really annoying about this whole thing is that you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know this. You don't have to. So I'm wondering why our paid government officials are not telling the truth about this situation. Why are they being tricked and then trying to extend that to us? If the government had so much confidence in this overall deal that they cut, then show it to us. Convince us the same things you've been convinced of. Show us what you've seen that got you confident in this project, because we haven't seen it. We haven't seen anything they've given us yet that gives me any level of confidence or comfort.
No.
The 2 most important things, the environmental impact assessment has not been updated. It's 5 years old. A lot has changed.
I can tell you
in
that.
the design of the port climate, everything, and the final business case. So we don't even know if we're getting value for money. We don't even know.
Exactly. We had a freak nor'wester over the weekend, out of the blue. Show me how many of those EIA reports got that projection in there. Show me the Baird report and any one of those that could factor in a nor'wester and timing, the cost impacts, how long it's going to last, who's going to incur that cost, who's going to be at the receiving end of the shortfalls when it comes to making the payments back for this facility that we're getting. Can you imagine? They telling the Cayman Islands people that they're not costing us a dime, but you're using our $30 million a year port to attain a loan to borrow $250 million. They're using our equity to borrow $250 million to build their pier so that they can use for 25 years, reap all the benefits, pay themselves back in a handsome profit, and then turn it back over and say, oh, well, you can have it now. We don't need it anymore.
There's a lot of things here, too, that people don't quite understand. And they're saying that the cruise ships are going to stay in port longer. How much longer? 15 minutes? That's longer, but is it worth anything? We're already
it's going to cost us
number
more.
3, longest in port. Our port has the ships in port the longest, third longest time out of 36 destinations in this region in the Caribbean. We're already in the top 3. We get about a 90% disembarkation rate. Cruisers and crew. The cruise lines say that their passengers, this is what their passengers report, 75% of them make $100,000 per year and up. 75%. So we're going to destroy our environment for possibly a 25% increase in spending? That does not make sense to me.
No.
And our people that are struggling, not making enough money because they claim the cruise lines are taking everything from them, what they have to do? Up their price. Up their price. People will pay top dollar to go to Stingray City. But if they can get it for $25 or $35, sure.
We do have another caller online as we go to our phones. In the studio, Miss Shirley Rolston and Mr. Mario Rankin, our guests. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon to you, doing?
Afternoon, my friend. How are you today?
Pretty good, man. How you doing?
I am blessed. That is I know. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. I fell asleep in the North Sound breeze. I'm off today, so I'm enjoying it, you know.
Wow.
Sounds nice.
Let me tell you now, good. Hi, I'm Shirley. Hi, Mario.
Hey.
How you doing, buddy?
Not bad, man. Not bad. So just woke up and tuned in. And I hear that you have a very interesting topic today.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what's being discussed before, but what I've been listening to so far, I just wanted to highlight a couple of things that are important to myself and hopefully others can identify with them that has also played in on my no vote that will be happening on December 19th. And I think one of the things that I have recently realized is the environment is key for me. That's the big one. And the sacrifices that we're having to make as a country just does not add up for me personally. I just think that we are being asked to give up too much for what we're getting in return. And that goes hand in hand with that argument surrounding Cayman Inc., so to speak. You know, from a tourism destination standpoint, again, I don't know if you guys have even touched on anything surrounding that. From a tourism standpoint, our environment is all we really have doing, and I've harped on that before, but it's worth repeating. It really is all that we have for all intents and purposes. It is what has driven and made Cayman in many respects, certainly in regards to tourism. I mean, the people come here for our sand, sea, and sun. Thank God we can't touch the sun, but we seem to be going after the sun and sea. And And when I think about the vastness of that dredging and the fact that we're so very limited in other resources, from one, a snorkel site, dive site from the shore, it just baffles me the government would even entertain it. And to think that their argument, or the argument that I've heard that has been attributed to, I guess, the government, is that we have 200 other dive sites around here, and I don't think they fully grasp what is being said when we said we have very limited, excellent shore and snorkel dives. Can anybody tell me, can we encourage our visitors to walk on the Iron Shore, at where the Iron Shore starts at Northwest Point to Turtle Farm, to go and snorkel off in the wide, open wide sea? We can't do that. It's not accessible. It's hardly accessible for locals. And I grew up in Northwest Point. If it wasn't for the little Barcadere that they had behind my grandparents' home, we wouldn't have been able. Well, very few of us would have jumped into the sea only to try to, skin up our legs, so to speak, or cut up our feet or whatever. You can't get into the water to go snorkeling anywhere else.
Right.
Where are you going to go? You're going to send them up at East End at the blowholes and let them go and snorkel a snorkel site? Where are you going to send our visitors to do an excellent shore, snorkel, and dive site? You're going to Cemetery Reef. It's predominantly sun unless you go out to the Kittiwake, and that's a heck of a ways out there if you're not familiar with it. The rest of the dive sites or snorkel reefs that are around the coast, they're good, but they're not at the quality of Eden Rock and Devil Grotto. We didn't, and Soda's Reef. We didn't pick those. The operators that chose those sites over the years didn't choose them because they happened to be in Georgetown. They chose them because of the quality that they are. That's just the bare facts. Mm-hmm. And as somebody who's a certified diver and who's also snorkeled in many spots, not just around in Grand Cayman, on the Brac, I went on a Captain Keith Tibbetts. I've gone all over. Where do we send our visitors for to get into to go look at our reefs? There's not many spots that you can do that. You can't even do that at Smith Cove, so you can go off a little bit. But Shirley has gone there. I don't know about Mario, but Shirley has. The quality of those snorkel sites doing is, I can't stress that enough. So for Cayman Inc., Cayman as a tourism destination, we need those 5 sites more than they need us.
Exactly.
Except that they need our voices now. They, as in the living organisms there,
exactly,
are crying out and need us to stand for them. And for the government to even entertain it just baffles me. So when I think about the Department of Tourism and its great director there and all the great team there, a department that I worked at for 5 years of my life, traveling all over the world promoting Cayman. I've worked in our London office, in our New York office, in our Miami office, promoting Cayman from a tourism standpoint. I know Cayman, I know the strong points. For us to even consider doing just baffles me. And one of the questions I plan on asking, and I shouldn't preempt them, but they need to prepare, because I come in to the town hall or wherever it is in West Bay tomorrow night with some questions. But I can't help but to think of the many tourists that we've brought, the multiple tens of millions of tourists that have come, or guests that have come to this country via the cruise ship, that donned a mask, snorkel, and went and snorkeled on those same sites and said, I want to come back here, just if nothing else, just to experience more of this underwater world. And for the cruise lines themselves to get involved with wanting to destroy our environment tells me they don't really care. They don't really care. Because if I was an executive at that company, I would say, well, hold on a minute now. You're destroying the environment, government. You want me to get in bed with you to destroy your own environment that we need in order to bring guests coming here? Because, again, I said this before, well, are we taking them to Downs River Falls? Are we taking them to see some mountain when they come here? What do the cruise ship passengers do when they come here? They go and lie on the beach or don a snorkel gear. So where are we going to send them to go snorkel now? In the Barcas, as beautiful as that is, we're going to send them to go look at the turtle grass out there? What? Where are we sending them?
Hey, man. Anything else you want to share with us?
Yeah, I do. I have something else too.
Please. Yeah, so the other call online, just Go ahead, sir.
The important point there, though, Dwayne, is that our environment is crucial, and we cannot risk that as a country. The other point, well, you know what? That's going to take too long, and it sounds like you have another call, so don't worry about it, Dwayne. But
no, man, we don't want to take.
I just want to underscore that for our Cayman people to realize that what we have there is an invaluable asset.
Well, thank you for sharing your views. All right.
About that. Thank you too.
All right.
Thanks.
Much appreciated, and I hear you loud and clear, bro.
All right, let's take the other caller. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for sharing.
Afternoon, guys. Roger, Marin here, Sherlyn, Mario.
Afternoon.
Not to be too long because I'm jammed in traffic, but I live in that all day long up in the industrial park. But yeah, the port. I think, well, Mario and Sherl, I basically believe that you all know the real issue behind the port, right? I'm not going to say it, but the real issue behind that and why they're pushing it so hard. That's number one. But there's one thing that I'm certain of: greedy puppies get choked, and the prayers of the righteous will be answered. So I'm sticking with the prayer part of it. I leave in the violence of and all the blaspheming because I already see certain things happening. I'm like, yep, that's part of it there.
Yep.
And a lot of traffic here right now, so I can't talk too long. But that's why I want to point that out. But surely you and Mario know what's going on.
Yes, brother.
And I know not all of us know, but plenty of us know.
Right, and we have to just keep talking truth.
That's what they call Jack.
Yep.
All right, baby.
Thank you, Roger.
All right. Thank you very much. And two emailers sent through some. Let's take one. Says no view of the updated business case, no view of the environmental impact assessment, no view of the contract. So vote no on December 19th.
Amen to that.
Then we answered this earlier, but perhaps we could speak to it again. I just paraphrase. Was asking the question whether in weather like today, if the docks were built, would the cruise lines be able to dock? I know we asked that question at the outset.
Say that again.
So there's another person. If the weather was like today,
would they be able to dock?
Would they be able to dock if the docks were built? If the cruise lines would be able to pull up? I know we asked and answered that at the outset, but just because it was asked again,
my guess would be no, and because it's if you've been here all your life, like I have been, Northwesters can blow up out of the blue, and you think, oh well, it's not so rough, but within an hour or so, it's a whole nother ball game. So even if the ships did take the chance to try to dock up in weather like this, it would be absolutely crazy in my opinion, because it can change and become quite violent quite quickly. And I don't think a 200 and something ton ship can just decide, whoa, go pull up and go and be out of here in 5 minutes. The other thing is, like I said, I'm in the tour business, and a few months ago I got a tour out of the blue simply because a ship that was not scheduled here got diverted here because the wind was too high for them to dock where they were going. Not waves, wind. And the captain refused to dock the ship in those higher winds. So we have a lot to consider. Mother Nature is always going to win, and the less we do to try to restrict her, divert her, obstruct her, or whatever, the better off we'll be. She gave us those reefs out there. They've protected us for many, many hundreds of years, thousands. And we can do better. We must do better. We don't need the piers. We can improve our dock. We can improve our cargo space.
Well,
we're not getting larger ships, folks. Get that out of your head. None of the shipping companies can tell you that they're bringing in larger ships and that the cost of living is going to go down. That is pie in the sky.
I just got a message from a friend of mine who actually used to work on the pier, on the dock, and I know all of the information in terms of wind, and he shared with me that anything above 25 knots, they can't dock. So there you have it. Typical nor'wester winds are higher than that, and the sea swells are a lot more treacherous than what you saw over the weekend. So at the end of the day, it's whatever mankind decide to do, it has to be in consideration of Mother Nature. and variations has to be made regardless, or otherwise you wouldn't have a proper plan. And those are some things that you just can't control. So even if we did build a pier, they, for a host of other reasons, they still wouldn't be able to use them in bad weather. That's just common sense. So when we look at this project entirely and look at all of the things and all the reports that were made, there are a lot of uncertainties. There are a lot of disclaimers. There's a lot of red flags. There's a lot of things that has come up that nobody will really talk about. When we look at the payback model and what is being offered as a payback system, we got to take weather systems into consideration, because that'll delay the payback process, which will extend to 25 years. And we don't know, and we just don't know how much weather systems is going to affect the payback model over 25 years. We may have a month with 10 lost days out of it. And then we may have another month with 15, or we may have one with 2. Regardless of whatever that variation is, those are days that we can't get back. Those are days that we have to have a contingency plan on how we're gonna fill that gap in terms of having the right quota in order to pay back this model, because it's all dependent on the head count. The model itself depends on the head count and how much passengers per year, based on whatever money is allocated for each entity, and what that looks like at the end of every calendar year in terms of how it affects the bottom line. And if we fail to meet it in the 25 years, or if in the first 10 years we are projected on a crash course with having to extend it, then how do we mitigate these things? See, we don't know these things because they haven't revealed these details about the arrangement. So, for the government to take the position that, you're not privy to that information. What do you mean we're not privy to that information? This is our harbor. This is our island. If anybody should be privy to this information, it should be the people of this country, who's essentially going to be paying for it. I can't imagine that we are honestly having a conversation in a day and age like this it is now, where everybody have access to pretty much anything once they know where to look, and yet somehow we're being told that we're overnight experts or troublemakers, or we don't know what we're talking about.
Yep. Right. And nobody will look at and learn from other people's mistakes in other countries. Countries are spending hundreds of millions, billions of dollars to try to undo the damages they've done, trying to mess with Mother Nature. And it backfires on them every time. We can learn from other people's mistakes and not make that mistake ourselves.
All right. When we come back from the break, then let's talk more about it, and let's ask about the referendum and the process on the 19th and like. All right. Join us after the break. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
The Cayman Islands National Museum invites you to join them for their 29th anniversary and Christmas Bazaar celebrations, Saturday 23rd November from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. at the National Museum on the waterfront. Come join in on their festivities, visit their talented traditional artisans and vendors, check out new enhancements to the Cayman Airways exhibition, and get your early Christmas shopping done. Admission is free for all. Enjoy a day of wholesome family celebrations at the Cayman Islands National Museum, Saturday, November 23rd.
Put a brand new 2020 Chevrolet Equinox Premier under your tree this Christmas and enjoy the most equipped SUV in its class with foot sensor liftgate, four-wheel drive, panoramic sunroof, ventilated leather seats, wireless phone charge, parking assist, front collision sensor, rear vision camera, remote vehicle start, and a 1.5-liter turbo engine. Whew. And the best part is, buy now and pay nothing until next year. Visit the showroom on Owen Roberts Drive for a test drive, or visit advancedchevrolet.com to start enjoying your Christmas early.
Do you know any young person between the age of 10 and 25 with proven success in the areas of business, academics, career, sports, culture, or community service? Here's your chance to recognize their achievements by nominating them for the Proud of Them Awards. To play your part in honoring our community's most extraordinary youth, simply visit www.proudofthem.com or www.education.gov.ky to find the nomination instructions and details. Nominations are open now and close on November 20th. Join us in inspiring our youth to reach higher. Brought to you by the Ministry of Education, Youth, Sports, Agriculture, and Lands.
Cayman Brack, yes, it is your turn. The Breeze Fusion 5K Walk Run.
The BRAC Breeze Fusion 5K Walk Run is almost here. To all of our BRAC families, join us on Saturday, November 30th at 6:30 a.m. Southside Public Beach.
Let's go. Make no excuses now. I'm talking here and now.
Register today at District Administration.
The referendum for the cruise berthing and cargo facility is on the 19th of December. Will you be traveling or overseas on referendum day? You can still cast your vote by postal ballot. The deadline for postal ballot applications is December 7th. For more information about how to apply, visit www.elections.ky and get set to vote.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon, welcome back. As we're talking about the impending, that's not a good word to use because impending doom is what it sounds like. No. Impending means imminent, looming. It's coming up short. That's should be careful with words because with something impending, people always think of it as a negative connotation. So not impending doom. Upcoming. They're soon to be slated referendum, People's Initiative referendum. Although for some people it may think it is doom and gloom. 19th of December, which is a Thursday, right before Christmas. So
4 weeks from this Thursday.
Okay, so wow. Miss Shirley Rolston, Mr. Mario Rankin are our guests. Okay, now with that, as a populace, what can you tell us about the whole process from the perspective of information to help us to be informed? Is it enough? I mean, do we know if we want to vote yes, we want to vote no? Do we have the information that you were hoping this process would have brought to light?
We were hoping to have more information. We were hoping to have an updated EIA and especially an updated, a final business case. So we really don't know what we're getting. And we have not got that information. So based on, there's if we didn't have anything to lose, this would be a great deal. But we have everything to lose and we don't know what we're going to gain. And that for me is a problem. Mm-hmm. We can lose everything that we hold dear. We don't have a bunch of resources to fall back on. Jamaica, bigger places like that, if they mess up one port, one area, they still have other major attractions, beaches, rainforests, rivers, activities. We have nothing left if we destroy the one part of the ocean that is accessible 300 and some days out of the year. Yes, people argue we have 56 miles of reef, and we do have something in that number of reef, but how much of that is accessible, especially just to jump in from shore and enjoy? Very little. You have to wait for rare calm days to snorkel north side, south, or east. The west is always accessible.
There are a number of WhatsApps to share. Mm-hmm. Let's share them. But first, let's go to the phones. And I want to ask Ms. Susan, do you know if our transmission is going in and out? Get a couple of people sharing, saying that. All right, and maybe I'll read that. This person says, is this a conspiracy against CPR with airtime that the connection keeps going on and off? That's the best one that we got that we can read. A number of people, it's not on Miss Susan's end. It might be mine, but no, we don't know. No, I say it's not on Miss Susan's end. So I'm sorry, guys, if our transmission isn't working when you're on. Let's go to the phones, Miss Susan. All right. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon.
Hey, welcome back again, man. How are you?
Okay, good afternoon to your guests.
Good afternoon.
Yes, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
If we get 10,574 no votes, will the government still build this dock?
Okay, so if we get that number of no votes, Mr. Rankin?
Well, if it falls short of the 50+1, then yeah, the government wins, and they can build a port. Whether it's by how it's stated in that section of the law, it's very clear. Do we agree with that? Absolutely not. But at the end of the day, that's what it is, and that's what we have to abide by, and that's the goal that we're aiming for to exceed. So, I just wanted to go back to the question you had asked Shirley about the EIA, and I know that one of the information that I had received in terms of why they wasn't doing an updated EIA simply is because the one they did in 2015 was a project of a larger magnitude. So what they did is they and I'm not saying that this is I'm just telling you this is what I've heard coming out of certain corners, that the reason why they chose not to do an updated EIA is because they have reduced the size and the footprint of the dockets of the build out in the dredge area itself. So, in other words, then they were saying that if the EIA was acceptable with that level of work, now that they've scaled it back, it should be fine. Again, I don't think that that's the right approach, if that is in fact the approach that they've taken. Which is again, go all the way back to why it's essential we get the information to see if that is the reason why they chose not to do. Or in fact, maybe they are doing a new EIA report, we don't know. Or maybe they've done one and they have it and they haven't shared it. So, as far as the referendum day and what we need to win, we have to have 50+1. There's no way around that.
50% plus 1.
Well, as His Excellency the Governor has shared, hoping that all of the voters will come out and vote. He didn't say vote this way, vote that way, but as a people, as we do with a general election, come out on that day and vote, because if you stay away, well, you are voting, whether that's the vote that you want to cast or not. It is the vote that's being cast.
By default.
Right. We have a couple of WhatsApp messages, and when Ms. Susan has the calls, we'll put them through as well, right? But let me share with you what some of our listeners are sharing. It says, good afternoon. I am with you all, and you're in my prayers. Our 7 Mile Beach will definitely take a big licking from the building of that port. The time they take trying to build a port, take that money instead to fix the airport, quote unquote, that igloo, and put in the causeway, which is needed very badly, especially when it rains. Keep up the good job you're doing, Ms. Shirley, and friends, you have my vote. All right.
Thank you.
So that's that one.
Awesome.
Says, good afternoon. The cruise ship people say that the affluent will be traveling in the mega ships, but that's doubtful. I think they will want exclusivity in their experiences. How would they have that in a ship with so many people? This one says, similar to that one, you keep, I can paraphrase it because I read what this person wrote, the next thing you know, ICT might have a word with me, but what they call now, off rig. Basically saying you keep going on and off when these people are on, what's up with that? And then the same one says the same thing. Let's read this one. It says, afternoon, I listened to the government meeting the other night, and they appeared to state that Royal, that's referring to Royal Caribbean, will not be bringing their 2 Oasis ships twice a week in order to justify the proposed increase in numbers to 2.5 million. They seemed to say now that those numbers will be from only one Royal Oasis ship and from another big ships like Carnival, which plan to have these size ships by 2023. So we will be spending 250 million for a very few Oasis size ships proposed to visit Cayman? Question mark, hyphen, dot, dash, and exclamation point. Also, it appears that increase in numbers to 2.5 million won't happen right away. Also, the government stated at the meeting that if the numbers aren't reached over the 25 years of the loan, then it will be extended in order to avoid government having to pay any extra. Of course, this would mean that it would be possible that we do not own the pier in 25 years. No, let me see if I'll read those other ones in a little bit, but similar to what you shared, let's take some other calls.
Yeah, we go.
All right. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling. Hello. Good afternoon. Hi. How are you?
Good afternoon. Doing good afternoon to your guests.
Good afternoon.
I hope you guys are holding on. So I don't give up. I've got 2 questions, and I don't want to sound ignorant or thing. Can you tell me when the government is making the promotion on there that you're not paying for a cruise line, when we give our tax back, is the cruise line giving that back to us, or or that's not our money, or that's not our money that we were supposed. If it's not going into the coffers, who paying for it?
Yeah.
If it's supposed to come in your bank account and somebody takes it from you, it was still your money.
Well, it's me paying for it anyway. I pay for it. I pay for it at the beginning of the business, or I pay for it at the end. I still pay for it.
Right.
But they can't tell me that we're not paying for it. I mean, they're not saying that the money that we made, they're gonna give it back to us and back to revenue. No, I didn't hear none of that. That's not saying. They're just saying that the cruise line. Number two, they on the report that the studies that have been put on the the development of it. What is the status from the government? Not as in the cabinet, but from the DOE. What are they saying about it? Is they saying that it's a bad thing? And I'll ask that one because I have another question I want to ask, but I'll ask that one later. Once I get this one sorted out, I'll get off there and you listen to it, you please.
Okay, thanks. So the position of the DOE. All right, well, anybody wants to weigh in? Miss Susan wants us to take a break. Give us some thought to that and see what we know. All right, to those who are listening, phone lines are there. Give us a shout. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Think about something that makes you happy. Did it make you smile? We know it did, because that's what we do at Sagicor. Put smiles on our clients' faces every day. With a large range of products to cover your family, it's no wonder most locals choose Sagicor for their life insurance needs. Serving the community for over 25 years. Let us put a smile on your face. Call your Sagicor advisor today.
I'm starting my shopping early this year. What you want for Christmas?
All I really want for Christmas is for my packages to arrive on time.
Plan ahead to get your shipments into Seaboard Marine on time and avoid the holiday rush. Check out their great less-than-container shipment rates. Seaboard saves you time, money, and convenience with consolidation and repacking options available. Take a load off Santa this holiday season. Shop, ship, and save on your small packages with Seaboard Marine. Give us a call at 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com/grand-cayman for quotes or additional details.
Shipping shore to shore,
The Cayman Islands National Museum invites you to join them for their 29th anniversary and Christmas Bazaar celebrations, Saturday 23rd November from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. at the National Museum on the waterfront. Come join in on their festivities, visit their talented traditional artisans and vendors, check out new enhancements to the Cayman Airways exhibition, and get your early Christmas shopping done. Admission is free for all. Enjoy a day of wholesome family celebrations at the Cayman Islands National Museum, Saturday, November 23rd.
Imagine a Cayman where you can go out and enjoy an evening with your family and get home safe and sound because you decided to do exactly what you said you would.
Or a night out with your girlfriends to bring in the new year with plans to head to as many venues as you can.
What about a happy hour with your colleagues to celebrate without worrying about who is driving you home? Well, guess what? Your wish is my command. Take the pledge, designate a driver, or ride the Purple Ribbon bus on New Year's Eve. We want you to arrive alive, 345. This message was brought to you by Radio Cayman and the National Drug Council.
Talk today. But I do have some questions.
Talk today. Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you for joining us as we continue talking about the upcoming People's Initiative referendum on the 19th of December with Shirley Rolston and Mr. Maya Rankin. Thanks for sitting in and sharing with us.
We're excited, and we're hoping people are getting excited as well, because this is going to be a historic moment.
Mm-hmm.
And we believe for the first time in a very, very long time that Caymanians are actually participating wanting to participate, wanting to have a voice, not content to be silenced any longer. And this is the proper way to do it.
All right.
We don't need to riot.
If it's, and I'll leave with you because I know it's been in the public domain, but the caller just prior to the break asked the question about seemingly the Department of Environment. I know at the public meetings there were some discussions, but I'd ask, where are they in this whole thing, why are they not, whichever. Any thoughts on that, if you wish to share? I mean, I won't ask you to speak for them on their behalf, but maybe relay as you know.
Well, I attended the Prospect and the Red Bay meeting, and that question was asked why the DOE was not on the panel to answer environmental questions and speak on the National Conservation Law. And it was said that that scoping studies were being done, and to my knowledge, I think those scoping studies should have been done, or were supposed to be completed like around October or something. And they said it was inappropriate for the DOE to be involved prior to those scoping studies being presented. And I just can't get my head around that, to be honest with you.
Okay, well, fair enough. We also want to ask of you, we know that press release from CPR indicated that it would say to the government, we want the 15th of December deadline. If not, we're looking at the court. Friday was the 15th. Today's only the Monday, one business day after. But any comments that you can share with us on that?
Well, obviously that's a legal proceeding, and yes, they were given until 4 p.m. on Friday to respond, which, to my knowledge, as of now, they haven't. So there's a legal process that happens after that. So that's
fair enough.
That's probably as far as we can go with that conversation.
Well, we'll wait to hear more from you on that.
And I think that at the end of the day, starting we're exploring all options in terms of making sure that this process has the highest level of integrity, because it's the first of its kind, and we want to set the right one. We don't want to we don't want to be the first to do something and we haven't done it right. We need to make sure that we turned over every rock and made sure that this process was done properly for the best interest of our island and our people moving forward. Because if we don't fight for Cayman, this island has given us all so much.
I sat and listened deliberately, so no participation, for two reasons. One, I wanted to hear. I find that if you're talking, it's probably not that easy to listen if you're talking as well, so it's better to listen. And secondly, I don't think, sometimes you need to stay in your lane. You need to know your place. You need to, it was more important and appropriate to listen. A few of the individuals sharing comments were questioning where the parliamentarians, not just those who have organized themselves as the opposition, and in absence of Mr. Ezra Miller's public comments that he doesn't think this is the way to go, there's been a relative silence. And the gist of it is, where are the politicians driving this process to say, well, government, where are you? Why are you pushing forward with this?
Meaning where's
the opposition in particular? And I don't want to ask you to speak for them.
No, but I think the opposition has been doing quite a bit in terms of trying to keep the checks and balances, especially when you listen to the debate on the referendum bill. I thought that was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there was a lot of pushback from the opposition for more transparency. A lot of the issues that faces this project potentially. They brought up a lot of good points, I can tell you. So I just think that because when you're in the House of Parliament and you're not on the majority side of the arena, a lot of those things are just said for formality. And I'm happy that they had that opportunity to express their views, because then it'll go down in the Hansards, where certain members was very critical of the process, and they made it known publicly and in the LA, which will go down in the history books. So it's just unfortunate that we sit here and I can tell you it's very frustrating and tiresome when you're trying to fight for something from a common sense standpoint. Then all of the issues, all of the fundamental issues surrounding it are very plain black and white easy to see, but yet the government somehow seems to have taken a different lens to view this under, and try to ostracize people like ourselves for trying to get, more information, a better understanding, and want to be confident about this project. It's hard for us to be confident about something we don't know anything about, because technically we don't know anything.
Well, let's go to the phones and take the other caller. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hi.
Hey, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon.
How are you?
Good afternoon, rascals. And
Good afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I can use the same line now that they use when they closed the West Bay Road. The same line that they used was, you see why now we have to close the road? Because we had one little Northwester about 2 or 3 days before they signed off on that road. And when I say they, we all know who did it. We all know who signed off on it. So now that we have a Northwester today, will the ship still be able to come in here if we got a pair and a Northwester?
No.
Negative.
I mean I know that. I just want to hear it from you.
Yeah.
Well, will the ship be able to stop? I mean, what kind of walls are they gonna build out here? I mean, to me, they act like water doesn't go around corners or can't come over walls, or I'm really frustrated about this whole thing out here. Let me just say this, because I have to go, but I'm gonna listen after. But the airport is a disaster. This morning it was raining a little bit, okay, but before it started to rain, we were on the right hand side, where they have us lined up across 3 lanes of traffic, right? Then started to rain, so all the taxis had to leave that area and come and line up by the airport. All right? Whenever it's raining over there, when it's pouring down rain, the drains are over on the right-hand side of Earth's right tire. So instead of it running right off the sidewalk and go right down the drains, it has to cross us, then get to the drain. So when we step out of our car, we're stepping in 6 inches of water, right? I mean, they need to get that right. $70 million, not a jetway. People get off the flight, pouring down rain, get soaking wet, then turn around, then you got to come to get a taxi, and the rain is pouring right down the middle of the taxi, so you cannot get in there without getting wet. You can't, Listen, December 19th, I'm begging and pleading with every single voter in the Cayman Islands to vote NO.
Second
no.
that.
All right. Okay.
Thank
Sterling
you.
and Mario and Dwayne, have a nice time.
All right.
too, Mom.
Thanks very much.
Too. Be safe out there.
We have a comment from one of our listeners online, if I can just read it, if you wish. It says, the Cayman Islands government and the Virgin Islands port partners are making the case that the berths, that's the docks, I guess, will enable the balancing of cruise visitors across days of the week and months of the year. If load balancing can be done with the docks, why can't it be done now with anchoring or with tendering and the like? This seems to me to be a case of promises that won't be met or possibilities that are being currently withheld to force us to build these, these docks, these berths, these piers, what have you. Either way, it's a betrayal of the Caymanian people. Now, that person puts that in that sentiment, but if you can balance it with one, like the person asked the question, why not with the other?
Well, this is another thing I don't understand. Mr. Bailey himself said that summer is their high season. Where? Because their high season is not here in the summer. So where is their high season if summer is their high season?
But don't they reposition? Then they say, well, anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So we could negotiate with them and say, bring more ships in the summer. They don't have to be bigger. Just bring more ships in the summer. We would be happy to have you. But they're not going to do that because that does not help their bottom line.
What about the timeline then of this? We've always been told, we've heard that cruise schedules can't change overnight because they're years and years and years in advance.
Right.
Okay, it's going to take 3-5 years to build the dock and what have you, but at the end of the day,
the cruise. Hold on a second. You said that you heard somewhere, or they said that the schedules can't change
overnight. Like they have them done up, years in advance. So what they're on now. That's
go and look at the five-month schedule for 2014-15, right? Look at the January schedule, and then look at the December schedule, and then look at the January schedule, and tell me. They pull those Oasis-sized ships out of there just as quick as they put them in, because they had a 6,000 capacity ship that were only being filled with half capacity, so therefore they were losing money, sending it to Falmouth, Rotan, and Cozumel. They pulled it out just as quickly as they put it in. So the anomalies that lie within this project is what's more bothersome for me, because the cruise line just simply using this tactic to bully us into building a cruise pair. That's exactly what they're doing.
But you've heard that before, that they've said...
Yeah.
The schedules are made years in advance, but it doesn't mean that they can't just jerk their ships out and discontinue in a port.
Our case in point, this weekend, they were scheduled to come here, but did they come? Because we had bad weather. So they had to change it. So when they change locations because of things out of their control, they can change these itineraries. Their guests mightn't like it because they can't control the weather, but they can change them. It can be done.
All right, let's hit the news break. When we come back, continue our discussion. Thanks for keeping my company. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have here on Island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
For today's biggest news. Access.
Local, regional, international, this is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
Cayman National Corporation Limited confirms the data hack at its subsidiaries in the Isle of Man and says a hacking group claimed responsibility for the data theft on Sunday. CNC and its main banking subsidiary, Cayman National Bank Limited, CNB, are located in and operate from the Cayman Islands. CNC says it's confident that the hack is contained within the Isle of Man operations only and does not affect CNB or any other business in the Cayman Islands. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines and news elsewhere. Deforestation of Brazil's Amazon rainforest increased by 29.5% in 12 months, the highest rate since 2008, the country's space agency reports. The rainforest lost 3,769 square miles of its vegetation between August 2018 and July 2019. Scientists say the Amazon has suffered losses at an accelerated rate since far-right President Jair Bolsonaro took office in January. And in news that will get DC Comics mega fans insanely excited and confuse everyone else, Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, and Ray Fisher have tweeted #ReleaseTheSnyder Cut. It's all to do with a rumored alternative cut of the superhero epic Justice League. When it came out in 2017, the original got almost universally bad reviews. Now 3 of its biggest stars have joined calls for director Zack Snyder's edit to be shown the light of day. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Talk today.
but I do have some questions.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you for sharing with us and on this magnificent Monday afternoon here in our studio. It's a cool, this was on 69 degrees, you think? Probably so.
Oh,
We'll check it out.
It's winter.
It's winter in here. It's cool, huh? Oh, it's nice, man. You know, humidity, I don't know what it is. It's nice in here.
It's lovely.
And it's nice because our listeners are participating, our guests are contributing. Ms. Shirley Rosen, Mr. Mario Rankin, thanks for sharing with us. This issue with respect to the People's Initiative referendum, we keep talking about it being a historical occasion. I keep sharing that His Excellency the Governor has said to the public, as voters, please go out and exercise your democratic right and mark your ballot the way you want to mark your ballot. So hopefully we'll get a high voter turnout so that there's a convincing yes, there's a convincing no, and there is this participation so that we know as a country.
Well, the way it's designed in terms of what you need in order to win is obviously in favor of any sitting government. And I'll tell you why. Because in the absence of people going out to vote, that doesn't meet that 50% plus one, then it's a no-go. That means that the government wins. So let's just say, and I say this out of urgency because for whatever reason a person can't make it to the polls. Yes, there are mechanisms that they can participate. However, some people just don't want to be bothered, or some people just don't want to be seen, or whatever the case may be. They may be a large block of our society that wants to vote no, that probably won't go out, which is why we do these shows in order to convince people. And while I'm on that vein, we're having a public launch meeting this Wednesday afternoon, 6:30 at the courthouse parking lot, and we encourage all to come out to be a part of this information session. This is not a one-sided bias meeting. This is a all things go at this meeting. We are there to discuss all of the issues. We are there to enlighten and create a platform for people to come and be a part of this process, because this is no one person's process. This is everybody's process. We get to vote for Cayman for once in our entire history.
Well, something you shared with respect to the referendum, and I hope I say this correctly, because when His Excellency shared, please go to vote, I thought it was important that we participate. We have this opportunity that so many people wish they had. But to your point, Mr. Rankin, the notion that there are three ways we're voting in this referendum. We go to the polls and we vote yes or no. Mm-hmm. But if we stay away for whatever reason, we can't assume that means that because we didn't vote, we didn't vote.
That's why the system is flawed, you see.
We voted yes.
Yes.
Even if you didn't mean to vote that way. So
yeah. Let me tell you how the system is flawed. The trigger, the requirement for 50 plus 1 contradicts the trigger. Mm-hmm. You know why? Because the trigger is what gets you to the vote. So the number that created the number that created the referendum, the process, should be the number in which they use as a measuring stick. So if you're telling me that 25% of the electorate could trigger a referendum, but you need 50% plus 1 in order to win one, it's very contradictory.
Right. This WhatsApp reads, if I may, says the glossy, fancy book the government just wasted money to print. So the front cover does not show the elms of the church. Is this facts or just a poor artist rendition?
Boy, I tell you, I would like to say the latter. I would like to say that it was just a bad drawing by the hand that did it. No.
So also, it says.
But what else are we missing?
Yeah. Also, lots of buildings are not on there. Is it that they're knocking them down and putting in sidewalks? And lots of greenery came on. I still say vote no. All right. Well, a lot of questions. I don't have the answers.
It's a ton of issues, Sterling, and I just think that this process. I'll tell you this right now on air. The government has botched this process. They have done a very poor job in creating any level of information for anybody to be confident in this project. You look at all of their reports. Look at every single one of the reports that was ever done. Recommendation, red flags, no guarantees, people who don't want to take responsibility if something goes wrong. The writing is on the wall. I don't understand for the life of me, why is it that our elected government have not surrounded themselves with the proper consultants in order to point them in the right direction. But we all know that this is all self-serving political expediency. And these are the things that's the landscape we've been in for so long, but we're changing that now. Constitution allows us to change it and to intervene, and we're doing so.
So there's a public meeting or launch on this Wednesday, 6:30?
This Wednesday. Courthouse parking lot, 6:30. Make sure you guys come. You can come and you can park in your cars. We got a road on both sides, and you can just come and we're going to have chairs and we're going to have a very informative session.
And we're going to other areas as well. So I'd just like to say that on Monday, the 25th of November, we will be going to the Sir Johnny Cumber Primary School in West Bay. And that meeting will be at 7:15 p.m. That's Monday the 25th in West Bay, 7:15 p.m. Wednesday, 27th of November, Boddentown Civic Center, 7:15 p.m. Monday, 9th of December is Red Bay Seafarers Hall, 7:15. And then our final meeting will be in Savannah on Monday, 16th of December at 7:15 as well. And that will be across from Savannah Meadows. So please come out to these meetings. We want to involve everybody. And we're hoping to have them live streamed so that our sisters and brothers in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman can also participate. So we encourage everybody to come out, and if you cannot make it out, please listen in.
Yeah, and I think it'll be really good for the public to come out and partake in these the process, and you get to see some of the stuff, because we'll have a screen up putting on, showing some of the visuals and the things that are being left out right now when it comes to the campaign from the Save Our Port or Support Our Tourism, whatever it's called. I think that this is a serious point in our history where we're going to draw the line in the sand and create that precedent that allows us to have that seat at the table when anything of this level or this magnitude that is a national importance, that we have an opportunity to be in part of the process.
All right. Now we're speaking to Mr. Shirley Rolston and Mr. Mario Rankin. Of course, the phone lines are open, so is the WhatsApp contact 925-3261. Quick question from one of our listeners online. Ask, do we know if the contract with Rhode Island has been signed? Now, maybe it's intended to be a rhetorical question, but they took time to read it. Let me just read it. All kind of questions people are asking and seemingly unsure.
We have the same question.
Yeah,
we ask the same question, and out of fairness, we just don't know.
Yeah.
That's the truth, and that's the real honest answer. We just don't know. But if you looked at, and I don't want to insinuate, but when you look at some of the things that are taking place by the Virgin Island Group and the government, you would think that they're going to start construction in the next couple of weeks. Based on actions. I mean, they did a job fair.
Yeah, now they're going to the schools and everything.
And now they're doing speeches in the schools and UCCI and these places. So, I don't know, kind of a little bit, I don't know. It's a little suspicious for me, yes. From a personal standpoint. And, when we asked initially to get a meeting in the government building, and we were turned down initially. And then subsequently, after, the persistence of this lovely team and, putting some pressures where it has to be, then we got permission from the governor to have one meeting. And we're going to have that meeting. And the thing is, Sterling, listen, I'm an optimist. And I said this before. If I see a bale of hay, I know it's got to be a horse somewhere. And I'll stop until I find him.
You're looking for a needle.
So at the end of the day, we know what this process is like. We know what we're up against. It's a learning experience for a lot of members in our group. Definitely. But it's something that we're willing to grow into and be a part of, and we have to be persistent. I have all confidence that on the referendum day, that we'll have the largest voter turnout in Cayman history. I think the Caymanian people now have seen the platform that they need. They're willing to participate in this platform, and they'll make that statement.
I'm not asking this of you now. Reading a couple of comments and looking at, I wonder to what extent the process would devolve into a case where we become emotive and we either don't participate because, that's him or her doing that, or as opposed to what you're projecting, that this is a national importance for not just the posterity and the prosperity, but the continued economic and social stability. Are people or voters sufficient in tune to say, listen, this has to be a vote to maintain that, not a vote that is political in a sense?
I think a lot of Caymanians in the recent past have been more hopeless, feeling like their voice didn't matter and that the government was just going to do whatever they want no matter what. But with this referendum, a lot of Caymanians have realized my voice does count. I'm not voting for a politician. I am voting for me, my country, my children, grandchildren, and the future of these islands. So we had lost a lot of national pride, I think, in our islands until, there's a special occasion like the 60th anniversary of our coat of arms and stuff like that. We need to have national pride every single day. Caymanians are a minority in their own country, but that does not mean that we cannot be filled with national pride. And that is why I want to encourage every single Caymanian that is a registered voter, come out on referendum day and make your voice count. If you're a no vote, stand up and vote no. If you're a yes vote, come out and stand up and vote no with pride. Vote yes with pride. Don't just let your vote be by default. That gives you nothing to be proud of.
Right.
Come out and mark your X. I'll be marking my X no, because I don't see why I should mark yes.
As we go to the break, and a friend of mine message said, those in a sense go vote no. The rest of us had to decide what we're doing. But I didn't say that. Let's go to the break. Final break, Mr. Rankin. When we come back, we'll wrap it up. Stay tuned.
Ambitious, determined, beautiful, and unapologetically uncompromising. You have set the bar high. Now let High Fashion and Design Studio take you to the next level. Full service hair and nail salon carrying the top designer brands. Calvin Klein, 9 West. Shoes, clothing, accessories, quality dressmaking, tailoring, and custom design. High Fashion and Design Studio, located in Cayman Trade Center, 199 Eastern Avenue, across from Bananas Restaurant. Call 945-4415 to book your high fashion and design experience today. Be bold, be true, be you.
Ocean Med is open for appointments at Bayshore Mall. The only healthcare facility on island designed exclusively for women, offers a wide range of radiology-based medical screening and diagnostic tests, such as mammograms and ultrasounds, with state-of-the-art technology, full OBGYN services, a complimentary healthcare coordinator, and a stunning facility equipped with calming, multi-sensory exam suites. Ocean Med is dedicated to providing competitively priced healthcare excellence to women in our community. Book your appointment today. Call 946-2326 or visit oceanmed.ky.
Did you know that once properly sanitized, some tinned food items may still be safe for consumption after coming in contact with floodwater? In order to properly sanitize these tins, always remove labels and then wash tins in a strong detergent solution using a brush to get rid of excess impurities. Tins must then be immersed in a solution made of 2 tablespoons of chlorine bleach per gallon of water for 10 minutes. Ensure that containers are air dried before opening. For more post-hurricane food safety tips, visit the DEH website at deh.gov.ky.
The referendum for the cruise berthing and cargo facility is on the 19th of December. Voter ID cards are the preferred means of identification for voters on polling day. If you do not have a voter ID card, you can get one at no cost by visiting the elections office at our new location, Baytown Office Suites, 68 West Bay Road in Georgetown. For more information about voting in the referendum, visit www.elections.ky and get set to vote.
But I do have some questions.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thanks for joining us, and thanks to our guests. Especially thanks to our listeners. I know you're busy. You want lunch. Some of you, after lunch, you got to go back to work. You're probably feeling it. But thanks for sharing with us, and thanks to Ms. Shirley and Mr. Mario. Honestly, it's not an easy task.
Always a pleasure.
It's important. I'm hopeful that as a people we start to have increasingly, civilized, respectful discussions amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
You were sharing something, and I wanted to maybe read this WhatsApp that's asking. But
to be very honest, I've lost my chain of thought on that particular issue.
Yeah.
But I will say that when we look at all of the major projects in our country that has taken place over the last 30 years, all of them have ran over budget.
Mm-hmm.
All of them have had major issues with the build out. We see schools that still isn't done, and they just allocated another $40 million in order to correct that. Again, the airport overruns from 50 to 70 million. Now they're going into phase 2 of the overall plan and spending an additional 40 million or 60 million out there to do what they should have done in this first build out. These are all the things that creates this lack of confidence within the public domain when the government decides they're going to go down these avenues without proper public consultation. I'm not telling you that the public is there to make the decision for the government, but the public is certainly there to help the process along, because it's going to be the public who subsequently have to live in those consequences.
Okay. Right.
So we have to be involved on that level.
We do have a caller.
Oh, we do.
Let's join the caller. Thanks to Miss Susan. Boy, she thought she would have easy day. My goodness. Let's go to the phones. Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for sharing.
Mr. Dean.
My friend, how are you today?
All right, man. All right. Good afternoon, Miss Shirley, Mr. Mario.
Afternoon, sir.
Yeah, very good show.
Thanks.
I hope we get into the people's ears like what we're supposed to do.
Me too, boy.
We're hoping.
Yeah. I hope so, but I like to hear when the politicians sing out and they say, look how much good, or what even better, the voters. Look how much good this politician did for the country. I like when they say that, because I have to restrain myself from asking, but look how much good they did for themselves. And some of them you can tell just by looking at their waistline. You understand? And when you talk about having pride, how you having pride that when you know you got to vote for a glutton or a greedy hypocrite? Somebody that will tell you, no, you can't gamble on these shows, but will pay and go and use government credit cards to gamble, and act like it's nothing. People that will come here and sit down and tell you, yeah, man, you got to try hard. How you going to try hard against somebody that's willing to work for $2.50 an hour? I'm not saying nothing about them working for the $2.50 an hour, I'm just saying, why you setting that competition there? You understand? Why you bringing that competition like that? And why we have to be criticized when we say, well, no, we want to be our own boss. And if you try to do that, you get kicked down even further. Why, when we have to go and vote for these people, they always look like they got the upper hand, and then want to talk about we gonna go independent? Independent for what or for who? For independence going to be granted to who? To us? To us, the citizens? No. I don't think so. I'm sorry, man, but I never voted, and I choose not to vote for any election, because I know the greediness and everything that they try to go through it, and the hypocrisy. Because you imagine you getting arrested for having a pack of Rizzlers, and you got to go stand up in front of a judge that got a hangover.
You voting on the referendum, though?
That. I will vote for that.
Yes.
That's not for nobody, right?
Exactly. 100%.
That's for what? That's for some coral reefs. That's for some rocks.
That's for our coral reefs and our rocks and our islands.
Yeah, I rather vote for them rocks than them ones that got rocks up in the head. Sorry.
I hear you. That's the way you say it, man. Yeah, so very candid. All right. Anything else you want to share with us? Oh, sorry. Hello? All right. As the caller shares, this vote isn't like an election where you're choosing a particular candidate. This is on a national issue relative to what we have. So, like he shared, he's going to go out on election day, mark his ballot. And hopefully, as you shared, Mr. Early, that there are people that are realizing that and will turn out, as His Excellency has. I'd encourage, go out on that day and mark your ballot the way you want to mark your ballot, with the conviction that you have, the information that you have, that you think is in the best interest.
Right. I know, like some of the civil servants and public servants may feel intimidated that showing up to vote would be assumed that they're voting no, but that is not reality. People are going to show up to vote yes, even though they could stay home and have their vote count as yes. They're going to show up because they're going to take that opportunity to have national pride and be able to mark an X. It's totally different when you win something by not doing something.
Right. But the thing is, too, some of us, and I really credit my parents for encouraging us to be conscious of the political process, to understand this freedom that we have to go to vote. Not everybody has that. There are those of us who either have friends, have worked, went to school with people who would tell you that when they were growing up, they didn't have a say in any of this thing. So as you shared, I think those of us who, irrespective of where we're going to mark our ballot or for whom we're going to vote, we can't wait for the polls to open.
Right.
We're going there and we're going to put our X down as we want or as we were told or whatever instruction, however, and make it a conscious thing. So hopefully on referendum day, that'll be the same process. I'm anxious to go.
And it is anonymous. I mean, there's nobody. Yes, there's nobody in that booth but you and God above, and nobody can see what you're putting down. You don't have to tell anybody because when you come out, your ballot is folded. It goes in a box. Nobody can see what you marked, and so please, everybody who is registered to vote, be a part of history, not by sitting home on your couch. Be a part of history and come out and vote on referendum day.
So go
Stand
to vote.
Cayman strong together. We can achieve all kinds of things if we stand together. And this is our one time that we can stand without having a riot or without having burning down buildings and pelting all people and stuff like this. This is the civilized way. This is the proper way to have a voice and to start to make changes in our islands that we should be making. Not anybody else should be making them for us. We should be making the changes that happen in Cayman.
Let's take one final call.
Sure.
All right. Good afternoon. Welcome. Hello. Good afternoon. Okay.
Hello. Good afternoon.
How are you today?
I'm fine. Good afternoon to the panel that you have there from Cayman Port Referendum.
Afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I am only tuned in just shortly ago on the program, so I'm not sure if you have discussed it. However, at the last meeting, a question was asked. In order for a work permit, somebody to be issued a work permit, they have to produce a police record. And if it shows that they are a criminal, repeated criminal, ongoing criminal, or on probation, that work permit is not granted. Now, these cruise ship lines are on record of being fined over $100 million in multiple jurisdictions, violating probation, and being fined again as recent as June, $20 million. And yet still, government is going into a partnership with them. A partnership, in effect it is. And I am wondering, if they were an individual They would not get a work permit. If they were an individual, government would not employ them to work in the government service. Caymanians can't get a job if they have a police record. But now we're going to import people here and do business and get into partnership with them that have police records, have criminal records in other countries. They're facing court in December in Florida again before the judge for probation violations. Repeated, trying to conceal all the different effluent pipes and different parts of the ship and different things that they're doing that are illegal. And when that question was asked, the Premier said he was not answering the question.
He said it was a ridiculous question.
We can trust. What happened to government we can trust? Where has the integrity gone? We didn't want China Harbor there, correctly so, because they have a record of criminality around the world. But we're giving a blight to these cruise lines that also have criminality records around the world. I just can't match it up. And that's one of the reasons why I am voting no. Vote no is the only way to go.
Amen.
God bless you all.
Amen.
Thanks for calling, and I appreciate your time, and I realize...
We're at the mark.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll just put this last plug. Wednesday, 6:30, courthouse parking lot, November the 20th, this week. Come out, and listen to the speakers that we're going to have, be a part of the process, get on the right side of history, and participate in this upcoming referendum and vote for the Cayman Islands.
Someone just wrote in and says, no is the way to go, don't be a no-show.
I agree.
Second that.
I totally agree.
All right. Our people are creative. Ms. Shirley, thank you very much, pal.
Thank you very much for having us once again. And good afternoon to all of the listeners. And make sure that you're informed. Come out to the meetings. We have you in mind. We are not in this making money. We have our people and our country in mind. Come out and hear the facts.
All right. And with that, thank you so much for joining us. I invite you to come back tomorrow for Talk Today right after the midday news and midday meditation. Until then, be blessed.